With your latest news, I'm April Cummings. We begin with today's COVID-19 update. Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee reporting 623 COVID-19 test results since our last report on Friday. There were 4 positive results, all in travelers. To date, 86,711 COVID-19 vaccinations have been given in all in the Cayman Islands, and of these, 46,928, that is 72% of the 65,000 estimated population, have had at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. 61%, that's 39,090, have completed the 2-dose course. The vaccine supply for clinics on Grand Cayman has now been exhausted until resupply, which we're expecting to arrive on the 16th of June. Vaccine clinics will resume on the 17th, but will only be offering second doses through the 19th of June. First and second doses will be offered again starting the 21st of June. You can find the latest COVID-19 vaccine schedule at hsa.ky. A major step for the Cayman Islands Forensic Science Laboratory team at the Health Services Authority with the procurement of 2 next-generation genomic sequencers, allowing them to analyze the full genomic sequence of the SARS-CoV-2 virus from infected individuals. Known as NGS, HSA says it was able to procure the technology because of donations from the R3 Cayman Foundation, the Caring for Life Foundation, and a private donor. Shots are fired outside a Seymour Drive bar early this morning, wounding 2 men, sending one to the hospital in critical condition. 911 dispatched officers to the scene just after 1:30 this morning to investigate the call. Police say there were 2 men at the location with other people around when they were approached by another man carrying a firearm, who then fired several shots at them. One man was grazed in the head. The other received multiple gunshot wounds. Emergency services attended the scene and took the second man to the hospital to be treated for serious injuries. He remains in critical but stable condition. The other man did not appear to be seriously hurt and left the location via private vehicle. The matter is under investigation, and police are appealing to the people who were at the location when the incident occurred to contact Georgetown CID. The number's 949-4222. Anonymous tips can be provided directly to police on their confidential tip line at 949-7777. This is the second firearms incident in recent days. On Saturday morning, 4 men were involved in an altercation in the Trafalgar Place parking lot. A man was shot and injured, another hit with an object in the head. The 2 culprits in that instance took off in a car. Both men were taken to the hospital by ambulance and treated for what appeared to be non-life-threatening injuries. Global leaders agreed to push for a 15% global minimum tax rate ahead of the G7 summit. Radio Cayman's Dion Anglin has more.
This weekend's agreement is part of an ongoing effort to ensure that multinational companies pay taxes in the jurisdictions where they operate. The Cayman Islands financial services industry is often criticized for its role in what's seen as enabling big companies avoiding or not paying their fair share of taxes in the countries where they generate most of their revenue. Radio Cayman asked the Ministry of Financial Services for comment on the latest news. We're told the official position of the Cayman Islands government is that the OECD proposal for a global minimum tax rate for multinational enterprises align with the Cayman Islands' overall position that taxes should be paid where they are rightfully owed. The statement also says, while the Cayman Islands' primary business is investment funds, which are tax neutral under international tax rules, the islands continue to support international tax compliance by adhering to international tax standards. No word yet on what impact the global minimum tax rate would have on the market here, should it go from idea to reality. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Dion Anglin.
Cayman Finance also issued a statement on the matter, saying the Cayman Islands is a tax-neutral jurisdiction, which it achieves by not adding another layer of tax on top of those imposed by other jurisdictions. CEO Jude Scott says it enables our financial services industry to do what it does best, facilitating investment throughout the world, driving global economic growth and prosperity. The Office of Education Standards grants another school an excellent rating during a recent visit. Radio Cayman's Carsley Fuller has the details.
Back in January 2019, Little Trotters Farm and Nursery earned an excellent rating from school inspectors. 2 years later, just this May, the team returned to find the high quality of education had been maintained. The report says all performance standards and quality indicators were judged to be excellent. These encompassed the achievement of the children, teaching, learning, and assessment, the curriculum, curriculum, the safety of the kids, the support they enjoy, and leadership in the nursery. Achievement in all 4 focus areas of the Cayman Islands Early Years Curriculum Framework, exploration, respect, communication, and well-being were judged to be excellent. Relationships between children and teachers were outstanding and created a, quote, highly positive climate for learning. The owner has a clear vision for the nursery, which has been shared with staff, and links with parents were strong and well established. Parents had a, quote, excellent understanding of their children's learning and felt well prepared to help their kids learn at home. The staff were well qualified and very experienced, and the buildings, including outside play areas, garden and farm, serve to produce, quote, highly effective teaching and learning spaces. The only recommendation made to the school was to secure all external gates in line with regulatory bodies. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Karsley Fuller.
Little Trotters Farm and Nursery caters to 85 students between the ages of 18 months and 5 years. You can read the full report at oes.gov.ky. As work continues to modernize Cayman's solid waste management system, the team at the Department of Environmental Health has had to reduce the number of derelict vehicles it can collect to 15 per day.
That's the maximum amount that we can depollute in a day. So when the vehicles come here, our contractors, they remove all the oils and fuels and other materials that could be flammable to reduce the risk of fire in the landfill. If we have more cars coming and they haven't got the time to do that, then potentially we've got those vehicles left in the landfill and they pose a risk. So we're always trying to reduce fire, and this is one of the measures that we've done to do that.
Assistant Director for Solid Waste Mike Howarth told Radio Cayman during a recent visit to the landfill, the DEH is asking for the public to be patient. They recommend you call the landfill if you need to drop off a car to make sure they haven't hit their max for the day.
Our scale house can keep a record. They will be able to tell you, and you can pick your date to bring the vehicle in. It will be depolluted, stacked, and then eventually crushed and shipped off the island.
The landfill site used to collect up to 50 vehicles per day, despite the country's relatively small population.
The amount of vehicles that come into the island and then pass down to us is phenomenal. We were taking in 3,000 tonnes of cars and shipping off 2,000. So you can see there's an imbalance there in the influx of those vehicles. That's why we've had to limit it so that we don't exceed our capacity. We've seen with the fires that we've had on site, that's a very important message we want to get across, that we're working hard to keep within our limits, depollute what we can, remove the fuel, remove the risk, and prevent fires going forward.
Back in March, after a multi-day blaze at the landfill, the DEH temporarily halted the acceptance of derelict vehicles through April 26th. Drop-off hours are now limited to Monday to Friday between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. After 6 weeks of intensive training, Cayman Coast Guard officers complete a junior leadership and transition course to introduce them to the standards of leadership, discipline, and operating procedures. Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego has more.
Members of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service Marine Unit, as well as 4 young Coast Guard recruits, recently completed the 6-week intensive training. Course participants covered topics including bridge watch keeping and management, vessel contact reporting, marine search and rescue, radio voice procedure, international laws of the sea, international regulations relating to the prevention of collision of vessels while at sea, various methods of instruction, incident command systems, and impromptu speaking. All of these vital when leading a team of officers on a near-shore or offshore patrol as a uniformed and disciplined entity that will be closely aligned to both local and regional law enforcement departments as well as Coast Guard and naval entities. Participants also received instructions in naval terminology, naval etiquette and traditions, as well as naval drill. The course was under the guidance and instructions of Petty Officer Dwight Hunter and PC Adrian Clark. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
The Mangrove Rangers makes a call out for all artistic youth in the Cayman Islands to take place in their art show for the Cayman Mangrove Festival to celebrate World Mangrove Week, which begins July 24th. Ranger Kayla Young.
What we'd really like to see is our young people get creative around the topic of our mangroves and wetlands. And we want to see art of any genre, really, that depicts the importance, the environmental, cultural, or economic value of this habitat for Cayman. So students can participate through painting or sculpture, fashion, photography, music, whatever it is that inspires them.
The day of painting classes, costume contests, and art exposition is all about bringing attention and awareness to Cayman's dwindling mangrove habitat.
Our mangroves are a vital part of this island and our ecosystem. more than 50% of Grand Cayman was once wetland, but we increasingly see that there is less and less of this habitat. Grand Cayman had already lost nearly 3/4 of its wetlands by 2018. So this problem is only growing, and we'd really like to bring attention to sustainability, conservation of our wetlands, and what we'd like to see happen in terms of development of our island.
If you're interested in participating in the Cayman Mangrove Festival, email info@mangroverangers.ky or call 925-8339. Participants will need to submit their art by June 18th. Entrance to the Cayman Mangrove Festival on July 24th is free and open to everyone. That is your latest local news from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.